Like I said earlier, the company has two subsidiaries. One is in the general business, and one is also in the life business. If I just quickly run through the results from the subsidiary, to a large extent, the subsidiaries continue to also prove on its capacity. For the NIC General Insurance, there was a 14% growth in premium income. This was from 20.7 billion to 23.54 billion. The 14% increase is actually above the market, the industry growth rate, which is about 10%. So, as a company, it means we're growing above the industry rate, which is a positive figure. For that subsidiary, the total management expenses reduced by 1% to 10.29 billion in 2021 from 10.42 billion in 2020. For that subsidiary, the NIC General, the profit before tax increased by 23%. The profit after tax increased by 18%. The total subsidiary also increased by 5% to 84.37 billion from 80.28 billion. And the shareholders' equity increased by 8% to 31.78 billion from 29.55. It continues to run at a profit, and for it, the profit before tax increased by 23%. The profit after tax increased by 18%. All of this a reflection of the resilience, the stability of the company. Now, for the life subsidiary that transacts the life business, the premium recorded quite a significant growth of about 98%. But one thing that is quite also important is the retained earnings of almost about 20 billion, which is the shareholders' funds available, which can be declared as dividend once the regulatory control is over, or declared as a bonus issue. That's why I said the company continues to create values for the shareholders. Then distributable the dividend over the time. And as was said earlier, within the year the price has increased by about 21% within the time. So as a company, we continue to look at ways in which we can be able to also give values to our shareholders. Despite the fact that dividend is declared, we looked at, okay, how do we reward within the time frame, and the bonus issue which we are having listed today was declared on the basis of 1-for-2, which means by the listing today, the shareholders has increased the number of their shares by 50%. And the essence of that is that by the time there, dividend will be declared on 150 instead of 100. If you had 100 before, the dividend will be declared on 150 shares instead of 100 shares. And it's another way of creating value and reward for our shareholders that continue to put their trust in the company. So that just gives a brief summary where we are today. We're quite delighted to have our regulatory bodies, the USC, the CMA, approve this for us to be able to at least give value back to our shareholders. And we express our appreciation. Thank you very much for the two bodies. So where we are now, within the industry, there was a new insurance act that came in 2017 with the operational regulations that came in 2021. This has changed the landscape to an extent of the industry in terms of now having, as I said earlier, a risk-based system of regulation. The risk-based system emphasizes liquidity of the assets in such a manner that assets are to be held more on what is classed as liquid assets, mainly cash equivalents. One of the things concerning the history of our company is that we have always had a lot of our assets in infrastructure in terms of properties. So there has to be some realignment of these assets for us to be able to fulfill the new regulations and operate within the new landscape. And the new regulation expects a 200% what is called the capital adequacy ratio for all insurance companies that are operating within the country. The new extension that was given is up to 30th of September 2020 for us to achieve the minimum CL. And that's why it's still important that even the profit has been realized within the year, be put back into the business. And that's why we are not able to declare any dividend this year. But like I said earlier, this is within the accumulated earnings, the retained earnings, which are the still shareholders' property, shareholders' wealth. It's just that within the period of time, this cannot be declared as dividend. It still has to be accumulated to the extent that we cross the threshold that the regulatory environment has put forth. So one of the other things that we have put in place to be able to operate within this new regulatory environment, we're doing an asset restructuring. Like I said earlier, a lot of our assets are in infrastructure and they need to be restructured in such a manner that it meets the regulation. We're also going on to see how we can improve on the business, continue to improve on the top line so that reduce as much as possible the management expenses, take care of liabilities, so that at the end of the day, the bottom line is also increased and there is enough for the shareholders, either as declared dividend or as retained earnings. Apart from that, at the last, the board of directors for the AGM to approve what we call the rights issue. This will be a AGM that will be taking place on the 14th of July to have some capital injection into the company, and we hope this will be approved eventually. So that's where we are. Within the foreseeable future, we intend to complete the asset restructuring. It has been going on well, and we're at the stage that before the end of the year, we should be able to say we have completed. For the future, we are automating the business also, particularly to be able to take care of online transactions. It's been quite challenging, particularly when you look at some of the difficulties outside in terms of cyber security and all of that. But we have been making some steady progress within the period to be able to move forward in the automation of the business. One of the things that we have always done is to have what we call product innovation. We've developed some products tailored particularly to certain of our customers, and this has helped also in improving the top line, and we continue to do that. We're targeting specifically some of these because we are able to give them exactly what they want within the some framework. So we're concentrating on also having this innovation, and at the same time to improve on the market share of this. Like I said, the past few years have been quite challenging, but we know that the company has the ability to withstand whatever it is. We've been on for now for about 64 years. 64. That's about maybe a hand. So we've been on. We've gone through so much. We've been tested. We've survived. And we will continue to survive over the. So, like I said, just so that we can cut this very short, we do appreciate your presence here this morning. It means a lot to us. And the fact that today we are able to make another landmark in the landmark, even on the operation of the one of the few that over time has been declaring bonus issues. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I have not bored you. Thank you very, very much. Thanks.
I think we can do better. Mr. Bayo and the entire NIC team for adding value to shareholders and investors in this business. There is an event that must happen at exactly 9:30, so we request that you allow us to adjust the program a little bit. We shall invite our CEO at the exchange, Mr. Guiso, to start his remarks now. Sir, at exactly maybe 3 to 9:30, you will invite the NIC team to ring the bell. Thank you very much. Mr. Paul Guiso.
Thank you, Andrew. Chairman of the Board of NIC, Dr. Alan Shinobi, the Managing Director, NIC Group, Mr. Bayo, Commissioner Moses Ogupus, Financial Services Department, Minister of Finance, Crystal Capital CEO, Robert Baldwin, directors here from NIC, ladies and gentlemen, and the media, and all those online. I'll make a few brief remarks, really, and as Mr. Bayo, it's an exciting day for a secondary market transaction at the exchange. Usually, the public is used to hearing about initial public offers, IPOs, but this does not differ from an IPO, because what's happening is this is actually a capital raised by a company on the exchange, which is a testament to the value the capital markets adds to companies that need to raise capital. We do know that the environment we are in entails a lot of regulation and capital requirements, and NIC Group under the Insurance Regulatory Authority is not one that is out of that landscape. We've seen Basel II play a big impact in banking. We've seen the central bank have restrictions on dividends paid to banks and ask them to go through a specific process of application to be able to be considered to pay out dividends. And I must say, through the Ministry of Finance, and thank them for considering an approach to actually reward shareholders with dividends. And we've seen Stanbic Bank, Bank of Baroda actually through their group companies pay dividends through that elaborate process, but based on the environment they're operating in. Bonus issues, what are they? Really, it's capitalization of reserves and what is that shareholders can actually benefit by getting more shares and also creating liquidity on the exchange. So if a company is not able to pay dividends, what that results that shareholders come into the secondary market and trade their shares without having to pay dividends and not be able to meet the regulatory requirements of being able to raise capital. So this corporate action event is fully welcome at the exchange. We gave our approvals, Capital Markets Authority gave. We do know a little longer than expected, and I think we've committed to have improvements in that area, because when the AGM of NIC approved this transaction last year, we would have thought it would have taken a shorter period. But this is an end to us, the exchange and Capital Markets Authority, and we will ensure that corporate actions are dealt with within a particular. To note is that corporate actions and bonus and rights issues are quite affordable. They are not initial public offer. The company is really minimal than the time taken to provide the requirements. It's an action that companies can actually undertake and achieve. Since I was given limited time, I will restrict that to the bonus issuance, and I'll just speak a little bit, into the market performance date, where we are, what's been happening, and I will start with the indices. Indices have not performed well. The impact of the current global economic pressure, the Russia-Ukraine war, the logistical challenges we are facing, inflation. Generally, we've seen the depreciation of the shilling, among others. And looking at the all share index, it has dropped 12.3 points year to date, and the local share dropped 16.04. The impact of that means that quite a number of, 13 out of 17 have, 14 out of 17 have dropped, and we've had only about 4 have an increment in terms of price gains. But the companies that have had an impact and growth share price, one of them is NIC Group at 21.57% year to date. I think maybe there should be a reaction to that growth. The other is Umeme, 26.40% rise, and then Uganda Clays at 46.15, which is a testament that despite the environment, market fundamental, the sentiments of investors, investors are able to get a return or growth in terms of their investments. The significant drop on one counter has been BAT, a 50% drop. We saw their share price from 30 in price is based on the non-trading of a particular stock of it. I'll give an example. Today, we've lifted the limits on trading NIC. Because it's a fund and material event, the price is opened up for the price limits are opened up for two working days. And what that means is that investors are free to place their orders at prices that they think are relevant to the new information they've been able to achieve. Now, going back to BAT, the price drop was a result of non-trading for over 4 years, and as a result, we opened where investors thought the price should be, and they executed at that price. Looking at trading turnover year to date, that is at the end of June, is at 21 billion compared to 9 billion at June 2021. That's a a 125% increment, which is again a testament of the changes from post-COVID, or the implications COVID had during the previous 2 years. But then we're now seeing to investors trading. Of course, in terms of dominance in trading turnover, Umeme account 11.7 billion at 56%, followed by MTN, the new boys on the block at 3.9 billion percent. Bank of Baroda traded 2.2 billion at 11%. Uganda Clays about 6. Liquidity on NIC specifically, we believe that this event should actually create some more liquidity on the exchange. We've seen just over during the course of this period. I guess that has, we should see a reaction to activities that are being undertaken. Counters that decline significantly: Centum, East African Breweries, Equity Bank, KCB, and Stanbic during the period. Finally, I think I'll also speak to the exchange. As you know, we are a technology company now. We really are spending a lot of investments in technology, and we've put in place the USC Easy Portal that invests the market and their holdings. We put out a statement recently about a data breach, but I'll just make some clarifications. Mr. Bayo spoke about cyber security, and this is out of all the developments we've been undertaking. And we must thank the ethical, who is Mr. Anurag from the United States, whose goal is to help improve the. We did identify one of our third-party vendors' servers that had some weak firewalls, and brought that to our attention, and we actually addressed it. But what has come out of this is that we've improved our third-party connectivities to access to the market. As you're aware, we are partnering with different companies to be able to offer better services, and that is one area we have improved on. So third-party risk is a big area, and I think we've been able to contain that and put in place better protocols. The other is a new development for the users of the Easy Portal. We launched our two-factor authentication. That's a one-time password, where all investors that use the system will be able to get a one-time password through their email and be able to use that to access their accounts. Going forward, that will be, and currently that is through emails. In the next couple of months, we will have also upgraded that to provide a one-time password through their mobile phones. So we believe that will improve security and the work we are doing. And in addition, we'll be releasing, based on these improvements on security, we'll be having a release on our Easy Portal functionalities, where investors will be able to edit their data, they'll be able to view some more, they'll have more functionalities to offer within the Easy Portal, and we'll also be able to buy and sell shares, which has been an aspect that has been, we've been looking forward for a while. Finally, I'll also take this opportunity to ask you to look out for a new development. We'll be launching our USC AGM portal. This is a new service that enables companies hold AGMs meetings, and we'll be rolling that out soon. So we ask you to look forward to that and look at opportunities it provides to the different companies. This is not limited to, it stretches out to circles, any business that would like to have a facility or a service to hold a meeting for a big group of individuals. With that, I would like to say thank you and once again congratulate NIC on the listing of their bonus shares, 707, and we look forward to growth. I think we've heard that you're planning a rights issue. These are secondary market activities we look forward to at the exchange because they add value and growth to not only the company but to investors. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. That was very informative. I believe all investors and shareholders have learned something and also gained confidence. So Paul will assist with the team to undertake that event that must happen at 9:30. It's ceremonial, yet it's very critical and important. Thank you very much, Paul.
Andrew, where do you want to go? In front of us. Go ahead.
I think at the count of 5, Mr. Charles, you can also join. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So ladies and gentlemen, take this opportunity to invite our Commissioner, Financial Services Department, Mr. Moses Ogupus, to say a word or two from, the ministry side, government side, but also the work we've been doing with him. We really interact a lot with the Financial Services Department, and there's a lot that we've been undertaking with them. Maybe one of the initiatives I did not speak where Mr. Ogupus played a very big role. Commodities license from the capital markets. We're in the process. We'll be trading commodities soon. We're in the process of piloting, onboarding commodities traders, among others. We've got the technology, we've got the expertise, we've got the legal framework, and the pilot will enable us understand the market prior to opening it up to the wider public. But Moses, please.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm so glad that you invited me to this event. It's the first opportunity for me to participate in such an event. Chairman Dr. Shinobi, I'm happy to see you. I saw the little boy. You mentored my cousin Odere, so I came to your office many times, and probably you forget money at the time. The MD, NIC, and all the dignitaries and stakeholders who are here, and probably those online. I came here to witness this event, and I won't say much. I appreciate the the statement made by the MD NIC and the wonderful progress that NIC has made over the years. From the government perspective, as a company which was divested and has made such tremendous progress, I think it is a great testimony how private sector in an economy. We like to congratulate and appreciate you for that. I like to appreciate the particular statement made by Paul about the significance of today's event of being a testimony. Important capital markets can be and should be in mobilizing capital, both for the private sector, but also, I believe, public sector. We are doing our best as a Ministry of Finance to ensure that we have a credible regulatory and policy environment. We are working with all stakeholders to reform the policy, not just for capital markets, but the financial partners in providing input in whatever is looking forward. Also been working with you and CMA to work on various regulations which are pertinent for the industry. I can only pledge that we'll continue to work with you to ensure that the environment in which the financial sector and particularly capital markets operate is conducive and that you can make as much money as there is out there. I thank you so much and God bless you and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mo, for those precise remarks. Now the gentleman who is speaking next, maybe Paul will even introduce him. I don't have the right words or capacity to introduce him. But matters of governance are critical, just like health is to us humans. So at least in that world, board members and board chairmen and the representatives of the boards of NIC are extremely important and to bring management to the shareholders and other stakeholders. As well.
It was mentioned, governance is a very important factor in public listed companies. It's a key area we look at, and the kind of directors that oversee the operations of listed companies are critical. I think CMA has got a fit and proper regulation that ensures that the quality meets the requirements that the public will put forward in terms of not only perception but quality of the skills, technical and the like, but again, the experience. So without further ado, I'll take this opportunity to invite the chairman the board of NIC Group and Dr. Alan Shinobi to say a few words. Dr. Alan, welcome.
Should I sit here?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Paul, for the introduction. It's very good to be here at the Uganda Securities Exchange. And thank you, Moses, for your good remarks on NIC. It's very comforting to know that we're from so we thank you very much for that. Distinguished who are here and those who are watching on the link, the sponsoring stockbroker, Crested Stocks and Securities, Robert, representing them. We have our partners, SCD registrars, I don't know if they're here. The solicitors who have helped us here, Chagara and whatever. Of course, my fellow directors, Mrs. Tukuratire, who is sitting, and Charles, who is also here, and of course the MD. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, valued customers of NIC, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the board of directors of our company, NIC Holdings, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this bell-ringing event which you have just witnessed, which heralds the listing of 707,889,859 ordinary shares of our company. That is a huge, huge number, and it means a lot will be happening not only at the NIC desk, but on the exchange generally. Today's event has been possible following the share 20th annual general meeting, which was held on the 24th of June 2020. This approved our board's recommendation to capitalize the sum of 3,539,449,295 Uganda shillings from the huge reserves of the company, and use this to pay the shares allotted as bonus shares to the shareholders registered in the books of the company as at 17th June 2021 in the ratio of 1 new share to every 2 shares held by them respectively on that day. The completion of this bonus issue brings our paid up capital to 10,347,888.85 divided into 2,123,669,577 orders. Next time I come to those figures, I'll just round them up for you. That's shares of 5 million shillings. This new paid up share capital combined minimum regulatory capital requirement for life and non-life business of about 4 and 6 respectively. These bonus shares again, which have increased each shareholder's portfolio by close to 50%, is our little way of appreciating our shareholders for their continuous support of challenging operational environment. In 2020 financial year under consideration during the 20th AGM, our company, despite the challenges of COVID-19, and I do remember this meeting was held mostly on link, of 9% in premium income. Now, this was from a loss of about 2.57 billion our company posted earlier. So this was a growth of 2.57 billion, which was a healthy profit after taxation, which came to about 1.9 billion, and this was in 2020. This past financial year, 2021, our company has consolidated on impressive performance, posting a 19% growth in premium from 22.06 billion in 2020 to 26.24 billion in 2021. The year's profit before taxation grew by 72.4%, 4.6. 3% from 1.9 billion in 2020 to 3.18 in 2021. So the issue commitment to consistent returns to the shareholders who have kept faith with the business, this business. Our company was listed, as you have been told, on the exchange 12 years ago, of March 2010. Since then, we've paid dividends 6 times. And for those of you who are investors, you will know that that is the most important thing to shareholders, when they get their money. So we have paid this in 2009, 2011, 2012, 2014, 2015, 2017. On average, we've paid at least 1 shilling per share for each year of listing. Shares 2 times. The first in 2013 financial year, when we gave 11 new shares for every 8, and now when we have given 1 new share for every 2 shares, held on 17th June 2021. So, who do we thank for this? We thank our customers mostly, who support. We thank our shareholders, faith in the business, and in a few days' time we shall be meeting our shareholders again at the annual general meeting, and we will urge them to support our resolutions and support us in that meeting. I will therefore not conclude without, of course, thanking our regulators who are well represented at this event. There is the Insurance Regulatory Authority, who is our immediate supervisor. They supervise the insurance industry generally, and we thank them for allowing successive growth. The capital markets as well for approving this bonus issue. We also want to thank the Vendor Securities Exchange, of course, which has approved the listing, and our partners, Crested Capital, SCD registrars, Dentons, and everyone who has worked on this bonus issue, not least our management and staff, and of course, directors. May God continue to bless all of you and keep everyone safe, and may God continue to bless and prosper this company. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. He deserves a better one. Thank you. So we have decided to merge the program. We had 2 sessions for the Q&A, but it will be combined into one. And with that, I will be joined by a very special lady, Mrs. Segunya, who we shall guide you through the Q&A. John will be sending through whatever comes from the social media. Yeah, so as you are aware, core components of our economy and for global trade, given its social and the economic roles it plays by covering businesses and personal risks. So on this panel we have the team from NIC, we have our CEO from the Exchange, the CMA, and we have Mr. Baldwin from the brokerage and advisory section, and our mother ministry, the Ministry of Finance. And a very special person, a person who oversees an institution like a bank, which we call the Security Central Depository, the registry business, Mr. Bob Musinguzi. So all of these are going to answer those complicated questions we may have as shareholders of NIC that are existing, or those that work in the business, and for any other question you may have out there. So as I think I will give the team 2 minutes to arrange those questions, and Bob, you can also move forward. Very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Like Andrew communicated earlier, I'm Catherine Sebunya from Crescent Capital. It's also my privilege to inform us that this is our first transaction on the market this year. So we had one that closed last year, which was the MTN IPO. So it's a great honor to have one actually coming through early in the third quarter. So I know amongst us we have brokers, we have the media who may have questions on what was shared by both the MD and then the chairman. So those will be specific to NIC. We also know that for any transaction to come in the market, there is usually an offer document, which is a prospectus. So for all the shareholders, for the brokers, we can guide the shareholders to go to a website for NIC to access the prospectus. But also if there are details of the transaction clarity on, I think my Robert Baldwin will also respond to those. The exchange will also handle anything, including the AC. If you need to know about your allotment, all shareholders right now have their shares in their Securities Central Depository account. What does that mean? That any person to trade. And like it was communicated earlier, we have the market open for today and tomorrow without aids. So if you have any questions on the results that were published some time ago, we can address them to the MD. I think we can take some from the team here as we prepare to hear from those that are online. Any questions from the brokerage firms? Do you have any? Have any online?
Yes, sir. I will.
Okay, so maybe Andrew can take us through.
Yeah, let me start with what we have received.
Andrew, maybe a minute. He has a question.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. Zambia Julius, Finance and Trade. I thank you, Mr. Bayo, for your presentation, your remarks, and everyone. One or two to NIC. I want to know your total claims settled by the year 2021, and also could speak on your performance for the half of year 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Aloysius Kasuma. I work with the New Vision. My question is great. My instinct tells me that perhaps you are able to achieve this because of the pandemic, being an insurance company. So I just want to understand what the drivers of this compared to the previous performances. Thank you very much.
Shall we address those before we take another round? Do we have any other?
Thank you so much, the board, for the good presentation. Bosa Jovia is my name. I do work with securities. I just needed to know if the Mercury issue was handled. And then number two, Mr. Bayo mentioned the product innovations. So I'm interested in knowing what innovations those are. Then also, you said you're waiting the shareholders' approval on the rights issue. You've just given us like shares. And then you also want to issue out rights issue on the same year. Remember, shareholders have just received free shares. Yeah? So, do you think it will be a good move to have a rights issue in the same year, given that shareholders have just received? Will they be willing to pay for the rights issue if I've just received free shares? Already there is low trading on the counter, so I don't know whether I need more explanation on that, like why have two issues on the same year, a bonus issue and the rights issue? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
My name is Anthony. I work with Smart24, a media station here in Uganda. My question to Nick is about Mr. Alan talked about the restructuring of assets. To know how the company is going to do that over the next financial year. The next financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much for some of those questions. For the claims within the last year, we have what we call net claims that were incurred by about 81% in 2021 from 1.79 billion to 3.24 billion within 2021. It was 1.79 billion in 2020 and 3.24 billion in one. On the half year, the listing rules does not allow us to come up with them now until those accounts are approved. So we may not be able to figures if we are not going to breach some of the rules on the exchange. But in the next few, okay, so we cannot give those figures, but this will be published in very few weeks ahead, so that that can become public knowledge. The drivers for the performance that we've had, I'd like to mention a few of them. What we did was to, one, look at how we can effectively manage the business, and this reflects on the top line in terms of customer service, in terms of developing some tailor-made products for some of our clients to meet their specific needs. And some of these products actually were quite successful in terms of also being able to secure some new businesses. But then we addressed the issue of expenses, and fortunately we had to trim a lot, cut down here and there, and without actually affecting the ability of the company to perfectively work. And definitely from the commitment of our staff, during the COVID period, as at that time, fortunately we were just coming up with technology that would allow us to also work from home. And it just so coincided that the COVID came around that time, and we leveraged a lot on that so that our activities were not actually crippled so much by COVID, because people could work from, and thanks to the commitment of our staff, thanks to the commitment of our directors, keep on going even within the two years. Makiriri, I wonder when this will be over. And for those who have been monitoring this issue for years now, It has been an issue, a complete non-issue. We continue to emphasize it came at that period because of so many things. Politics, people, for one reason or another. But this issue was even effectively sorted out in 2019. It was published in the newspapers. We had an agreement even with the authorities of Makerere. It was a registered agreement, consent agreement between the two parties, registered with the government. Certain forbearances were done on the part of the company. I recollect that we also published. It was one of the reasons why our performance in 2019 was affected. We published because we had to do some forbearance just to effectively put this matter behind us, and it affected us. So this matter has been sorted out, and I just hope and plead that please, let's put this thing behind us. It's over and over and over. As of today, we are on very good terms with Makerere. We came out together with a team involving the Vice Chancellor, involving our current chairman, involving our former chairman, Dr. Aluke. These were publicized and published issues. So it's a no issue as far as we are concerned. On the rights issue this same year, there's actually no reason, and I think Mr. Bueso explained what a bonus issue is. It's quite different from a rights issue. A bonus issue, maybe further to his explanation, is given to the shareholders gratis, so to say, from their own retained earnings, to say, have these shares, don't pay for them, because you have already paid for it from your retained earnings on which we're converting. So they are not paying any shilling for it. They are being given because they are shareholders of the company from what's aside. I hope my explanation is quite okay. So they're not being paid for it. They can do whatever it is they want with it. Now we need to meet certain threshold, and we're going back to our shareholders. This can be an opportunity for you to also invest back in the company. The point there now is that even the bonus issue is an encouragement for the rights issue. For example, I said that if I had 100 before, I now have 150. The way rights issue operates is the rights that will be accrued will be based on the 150, no more 100. So I can even increase on my shareholding. And as one, I don't also know if I'm permitted, I will encourage any shareholder to take up their rights. Because it's apart from the fact that it allows you to maintain your threshold. Because if you don't take it, if another person takes it, share in the company in terms of percentage reduces. But it's a way to enable us to also be able with the requirements of the law. And thereafter, another 1-2 years after complying, shareholders can get value in terms of dividends. So they're two separate things. They are not mutually exclusive. In some environments,
you're right, having the bonus issue at the same time. So they don't impact on one another. It's based on the appetite of the shareholder, what they would like to have as their stake in the company. On the restructuring of assets, it has been on for a while, and we hope to be able to complete the restructuring within the year. What it just takes is that you look at your asset not liquid. The law requires that a certain percentage of your assets must. So if there is already a mismatch, the regulation. For example, if the law says percent of your assets should be in cash and cash equivalents, and you now have 70% in illiquid assets, you must readjust them to be able to have as required by the regulation. And that's what we're doing, restructuring them and converting them into cash. It's been on for about 3 years now. We hope to be able to conclude it before the end of the year. It's been successful so far, and we conclude it.
Thank you, Mr. Bayo. The questions asked. The event has attracted attention from all corners of the world. I will direct some questions to the registrar and the CEO of the exchange, and read out the others that are coming online. Mr. Registrar, what does the SCD category LI, I, and FI mean? And somebody has been trying to register in person, but I think they're having challenges. They don't know what category they fall under. Yes, and how best can you talked about. Somebody needed some elaboration on what the all share and local share index mean. They also needed clarity on the share price of the NIC. To you, registrar, again, somebody has spent about 4 years without receiving dividends from NIC. I believe they are shareholders called Nakasi Sara. How can you assist them to maybe get their arrears, so to speak, any shares they could have missed? Then can these bonus shares be deposited on her phone? Then for you, Mr. Bayo and Alan, what drove the growth in the life business segment, and what is the outlook for the year 2022? Just close to that, somebody also asked, this year 2020-2021, there's chaos after chaos. There are wars, there are panics. Will a shareholder be happy at the end of the year 2022? Yeah, then what is management doing to improve the core insurance business profitability given the underwriting losses? These questions are from Mr. Kakembo Patrick, and he also wanted to know the contribution of the non-insurance business segment to your profitability. I think let us start with those.
So, Andrew, thank you very much. I think I will deal with the 3 questions meant for the registrar. So, LI is for a local investor, EI stands for an East African investor, and FI stands for a foreign investor. That's the categorization of investors in the depository. So at least I'm sure, was it a gentleman or a lady?
You stand up, the audience can't see you.
I hope I'm visible now. So I'll just repeat.
Yeah.
So LI stands for local investor, EI stands for the East African investor, and FI investor. So that is how we categorize clients that participate on the USE. Now there was a particular question from Sarah, and I believe she was asking about her dividend. So what we will do after here, we'll say just contact her. I hope you'll be able to share her details so that at least we can be able to reconcile and confirm her payments and the status. So then the last one was interesting. She says, can the bonus shares be put on the phone? Now, Sarah, unfortunately, we don't deposit shares on the phone, but we will require you and we will assist as we get back to you on how you can open an account in the depository, and then we can credit your shares. So that the way you have a bank statement and it holds your money, then this particular account holds your shares and you can be able to track them. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yes, Paul?
So indices are really trackers of markets. So when we refer to the all share index, we're looking at all the equities listed on the exchange. That includes both the cross-listed companies and the local companies. Currently we've got 18 companies on the exchange, 8 are listed and 10 are local. So to track the all share index, you include all of them in the same basket. An index, basically you look at the total number of shareholdings per counter and the day's price to get what we call the index. And our index basically is based on a volume weighted formula. So now it's the number of shares traded vis-a-vis the price gives you the end of day close. Now the local share index is specific to the local companies. Those are the 10 listed companies that are local to Uganda. And again, the tracker is the same price based on the volume of shares to be able to track the market capitalization. And the market capitalization is able to show you the movement on the scale. This helps you see whether the market is moving in a positive direction or negative direction. That's collectively. But if you track the counter or the specific company, it enables you to track whether that stock is moving up or down, and hence the reporting of the indices. I didn't get the question on NIC share price, but I also do not think I'm best placed to make a comment on it. I will ask Bob, the transaction advisor, maybe to make a comment on the price.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm actually talking to the trading desk right now to see if there's any change in the price. But maybe a bit of a primer on what might happen to the price, because obviously it's the market that will determine the price from today forward, the post listing of the new shares. So if we take the company yesterday or Friday, its market cap was, you had 1.4 billion shares. I think the price was something like 6.2. So 6.2, sorry, I can't do my quick math without more coffee. 6.2 per share times 1.4 billion is a market cap of about 8.7 billion, market capitalization. So that's what the market represents as the value of the company. The new shares now have listed. The new shares are now 2.1. So you would say that the market cap has not changed, but the number of shares has changed. Material information, and bonus is a very material event. It's a limit that the market has of 15% up or down, so the price limits are removed. So based on the market cap and the new number of shares, the market will determine a price. I will not, I can't determine the price, but it's whoever decides to sell or who decides to buy. And the reason I was looking at my phone is that the traders are saying right now there are offers of about 420,000 shares at 6.2. So someone is saying, today I'm willing to sell 400,000 shares. We'll see where the buyers show up, at what level. And at that point, then price will be determined. And in the 2 days of limits being lifted, then you'll have a price set for the counter.
Okay, Mr. Bayo.
Yeah, thank you. I think there was a question on what brought about the growth in life business. Like I said earlier, was for specific organizations. Same time, increase on the retail aspect of the business, which is what we are still concentrating on. When I mean retail, in terms of individuals to individuals, there's a huge market here for what can be done. So still going forward, we want to leverage on technology, and that's an area that we're looking at to see how technology can help us with the business. On what appears to be the gloom on the global level, the pandemic, the wars, these are trying periods. Just as it tries individuals, it tries corporate bodies. And I can understand what the person who asks the question is the background. Operators out there, it has not been easy. Recently, we begin to feel the impact of inflation. We begin to feel the impact of reduced disposable income in the pockets of people. And for business that are not resilient, these are trying times. And what we've tried to do is to look at how do we also increase on the channels of distribution, so that we can be able to take advantage of the different sectors, of the different channels. So far, it's been good. We that the pandemic was over. Only for in the past few weeks there's a surge again. One thing we're hoping for is that there will be no lockdown. And I think economies all over the world have already overgrown the issue of having lockdowns anywhere. So as the economy continues to also improve, we want to believe that we will be able to take advantage of whatever it is. But what is quite peculiar to our company is the resilience that the company has. And at the same time, to the extent for business that you take every day as it comes. Long-term planning, but you're finding out that for whatever reason, just be disrupted anyhow. So try to leverage on that and cope with the trying times. In terms of the underwriting losses and for the core business, if we look at it, there was an underwriting, the underwriting results before management expenses was quite huge. Now there are regulatory requirements of how management expenses are treated. For us, there are management expenses that are directly related to the. If we're taking the management expenses directly related to generating the income, there is no underwriting loss. But if we're taking all management expenses and it to the top line, that's how the underwriting loss was created. And you find out that when you get to the bottom, it evens out. So, but I
call it a day. For Mr. Ogwapus, there's a question whether you can give some insight on previous efforts from state-owned enterprises like Yara, and have anything to say about that. You will say something. There was a NIC's ranking in the insurance industry as at 31st December. Then maybe for Paul and Baldwin, any of these listed companies able to see dividends year on year. Transactions like bonus and rights issuances. And for you, Bob, people want a contact hotline where they can address all these questions regarding delays in dividend pay. Others. Then the last one for Mr. Especially for financial markets. In times like this, Mr. Seruchacha somewhere has a loan 20%, the bank revises it to 26 or 30%. Are there some plans of hedges on interest rates and maybe to some extent indices in the future? We shall close with those. Kathy, any other?
Do we have any? Respond to those?
Okay, there.
Stanby. The one that was mentioned, Kenyatta, Cement Industries, ABSA, and a few others. One of the challenges is that with the passage of time, probably did not necessarily favor the implementation of that policy. So what we are doing now, working with CMA and all the other stakeholders, we are reviewing the entire framework to develop strategies to promote listing, not just of those at the time identified entities, but generally for all companies that would be found fit and proper in line with the CMA current framework. Okay. And as I said earlier, we are working on a policy document. We've shared this document with most stakeholders, but we'll come back to a wider stakeholder engagement to make sure we get all your input on how best we can promote listing. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.
In regards to the contacts for the SCD registrars, and I will try to read it, maybe focus could be on the email address. We can be reached on registry@use.or.ug, but these contacts are available on the website, so